What's going on, guys? OOTIKTAKOO here, and welcome back to another video. I don't want this to be long because we have a ton to go over. Just I need to say a few things before we get into this. One, it's a top tree Vanquisher dev build. It's really strong, and I have tried everything you guys suggested. Every single thing you guys suggested, I did try. Just I wanted you to know that originally I was going to talk about that fact more and why it didn't work, but the video got too convoluted and confusing, and I don't want to do that. So instead, we're going to keep it simple and just talk about the weapons, the armor, the mods, why they all work together, the skill tree, and the skills. That's what we're going to focus on this video. There will be a handy dandy template at the end of the video, like always. If you want a high-res image of that template, please join the Discord. I have them all posted. If you guys like guides, gear, and gameplay, think about subscribing. It really does help out the channel. And if you guys want to check me out at Twitch, twitch.tv/roundedtiktak. I stream 4 days a week, and currently you're missing content like this.
The features and systems under the hood of the game.
All right, let's see what we got, guys.
When it comes to making these shows. However, we...
So originally, you guys suggested that I should try Ultimate Damage Link instead of Shadow Comet on like the first one that I did. Problem was I only had one Voodoo Matchmaker, and I didn't want to wreck it for this at the time pseudo damage build, which I wasn't sure was going to be any good. Then Game Sager, another YouTuber and Twitch streamer, I'll leave his links down in the description below, cleared Boomtown in like 4 minutes and 30 seconds, something along those lines. So after I saw that and saw how good Ultimate Damage Link is, then I decided to destroy my Voodoo Matchmaker and put it on my build. Everything else was basically the same. We were running the exact same mods, just he was right. Use Ultimate Damage Link. Check out his channel down below. So that's what the idea of the video is. I want to get into it right away. This is your top tree Vanquisher statue set gun bleed build with a death shield and some other stuff. All of it works together. Let's jump into the video. I have never theory crafted so hard about a build in a game in my entire life. Everything in this build is there for a reason and has a specific purpose that helps the build along. This build originally needed to solve 3 problems: AoE damage, survivability, and keeping your golem up at all times. Every mod in this build takes care of one of those problems and complements the others in some way. And with that out of the way, let's get into the weapons. Currently, we are using a death shield. You are going to need legendaries for this set, but this is something to strive for after you can comfortably farm and you want to change up your build. This build is slightly faster than the bleed build, but if you've been working towards that, feel free to keep using the bleed build. This is only slightly faster, and it's a lot more risky. Your survivability is null, and we'll talk about why that is when we get to the armor. But like I said, we have a death shield here with Fortress and Ultimate Damage Link. Ultimate Damage Link was suggested a few times to me. My biggest issue was I only had one Voodoo Matchmaker, but eventually I did rip it apart, take the mod off, and put it on here, and I could not be happier. This weapon solves 2 of our issues: our bonus damage that we need from something like Killing Spree and our AoE issue. This build lacks any AoE whatsoever. AoE damage, that is. Without this mod, we basically have to kill every enemy in the game with our shotgun one by one, and it doesn't work out very well. Yes, you can use something like Killing Spree, which would be my second suggestion if you have that, and we were able to clear Boomtown with that mod, and your single target damage will be higher, but having to kill every single enemy solo is a pain in the ass. I'm not going to be lying to you. Next, we have a Wrath of Moloch, or that's what I call it, Inferno Seed with Wrath of Moloch and Ultimate Damage Link. You can use whatever you want here. The only reason I'm not using Moaning Winds is because they both feed off shotgun rounds, and I still run out of ammo in this build. Sometimes, not all the times, but it does happen. So I'm just using an Inferno Seed here that's pretty well rolled, that comes with the same perks, Ultimate Damage Link and Wrath of Moloch. But I'm telling you, even for this build, I rarely swap anything. If I do, it's usually like an AoE weapon, but this is currently what I've been running because I'm still testing an assault rifle version of this build. If you do not have Ultimate Damage Link, feel free to try Killing Spree. That works almost just as well. These are the weapons we're using. Our pistols don't matter because we never swap to them. Next, let's talk about the armor. Here, it's very important because this is where the entire build comes together. Anybody can run these two mods, but it's what we have on our armor and gear and our mods that really pulls everything together. So let's get into it. So the 4 white passive perks you're looking for on your armor are the following: bonus firepower because it helps all of your damage, close range damage we will be stacking, and we'll talk about why we're doing close range over anything else when we get into the skill tree. Then we have long range damage because even though we're stacking close, we still need to pick off those riflemen that run to the back of the area, and a little extra long range damage will help. Then lastly, you're looking for cooldown reduction. Now granted, my build isn't perfect, but those 4 perks are what you're looking for on your pieces of armor that you can fit it onto. And before we get into exactly what I'm using, let's talk about the statue set. The statue set is the mainstay of this build. What does it do? Well, using Tremor or Golem increases firepower by 100% and Weapon Leech by 100% for you and your teammates. Now, something to note, the firepower is either bugged and doesn't work for your teammates, or it's just worded really, really poorly and was never supposed to work for your teammates. I'm not sure which one it is, but I can guarantee you your team is not hitting any harder when you have Golem or Tremors up using this set. But 100% firepower for us is amazing, will be solely of the fact to try to keep Tremors or Golem up as long as humanly possible. So let's talk about the armor that I'm using personally and why it all blends together. So first we have Sergio's Beret. This is not something that you need. It comes with bonus firepower, cooldown reduction, and status power. The reason I'm using it is because I only have one and I want to keep it intact for its perk, Sharp Eye. Killing enemies while aiming down sights grants you 1600 firepower for 20 seconds, stacks up to 3 times. In my opinion, this is the best stacking firepower buff in the entire game. It lasts for 20 seconds, it doesn't deteriorate, and all you have to do is kill 3 enemies while aiming down your sights. Real easy to do. I love this perk. On top of this, we have Perseverance. Perseverance is a mainstay of this build. If our Golem goes down, we die 90% of the time. So you really do everything you can to keep your Golem up as long as humanly possible. Then we have the statue's torso. This comes with bonus firepower, skills life leech, and cooldown reduction. Part of the issue with the statue set is some of the pieces just come with useless perks that you can't take off. Some of them have double tremor perks or something like this, Power of the Stones. When the skill is active, allies are given 40% weapon damage bonus for 8 seconds. Now you can use this if you would like to, but I'm still on the fence about using tremors in the build anyway. This is the only tremor perk that has to be here, and so technically we're losing something completely. We do not have a mod slot at all if we choose not to use tremors. So this chest piece kind of forces you into it, but we'll talk about that more when we get to the skill tree. On top of that, we have Tainted Blood. Increases the damage dealt to enemies afflicted with bleed by 25%. Bear with me, and I'll explain how this works. Then we have the statue's legs. Max health, skills life leech, cooldown reduction. Golem Squad increases duration of Golem by 20% and cast a 25% shorter version of Golem on your allies. This is an amazing perk. It's really good for team play. It gives us 120% duration, so we're looking at 20 seconds per Golem cast. And then we have Captain Hunter. Increases your damage against elites by 25%. Next is our purple gloves. We have bonus firepower, close range damage, like I said, the top 2, and healing received. Not terrible, not the best. Bloodlust, killing shots increase firepower by 17,505, stacks up to 3 times, and deteriorates every 10 seconds. Is this better than Sharp Eye? I'm not sure. I prefer Sharp Eye, but I have both in the build anyway, and it really ramps up to give us a lot of damage. Vampiric Mag, this is where your sustain for the gun comes into play. Vampiric Mag, killing shots on enemies afflicted with bleed, replenishes 50% of your ammo in your magazine. If you are not using a shotgun, you can take this out. If you don't mind reloading, you can take this out and add another DPS perk or a survivability perk. But the issue is, if you're trying to get gold timers, you need to kill quickly. You don't really have time to hit the ammo boxes every time. Having this just makes the build feel more cohesive. You can try it without it. I have, and I always put it back in. And lastly, our statue's feat is the last piece of our statue set. We have max health, close range damage, cooldown reduction. We have Golem of Death. This is these two perks are what pulls the entire build together, which in my opinion, that's good game design. Having two perks that can absolutely change your entire build is really, really cool to see. We have Golem of Death. When the skill is active, it extends the duration by 2 seconds for each enemy killed. Remember, we have AoE on our weapon, which was part of the problem I originally encountered. So keeping up our Golem is pretty easy, as our shotgun kills the big guys and the weapon link damage kills the small guys. Then we have Bleeding Impulse. This is our only form of bleed in the entire build. When the skill is active, spawn radial impulses that inflict bleed on enemies within a 10-meter radius, which is one of the larger radius things in the game, and frequency of 2 seconds. So how does this build actually pull together? Well, this is the scenario of how it usually works. You go into a fight and you use Kinetic Leap and you jump in. You use Golem, it starts bleeding every target. We have 120% duration on our Golem, and every time we get a kill, it adds 2 seconds to your Golem, which is amazing. Then, while Golem is active, it is bleeding all the targets, allowing us to use Vampiric Mag to refill our ammo. We get more kills with Ultimate Damage Link, keeping up our Golem even more, and this entire time we have 100% of firepower. That's how the build works. That's the armor. That's the weapons. That's why we're using everything. Let's talk about the skills, because here it gets interesting. Now, you are forced to use a tremor mod. No matter how you try to kit this, you have to use a tremor mod somewhere. But does that necessarily mean you have to use tremor? No. I personally don't like the skill. I used to like it, I really did, but trying to shoot things while they're stumbling around and getting headshots is almost impossible. Yes, you lose out on a little uptime from your Golem skin, and or if that's down, you can use tremors for that 40% boost. Or another theory is that you can use it while trying to kill a boss really, really quickly, and you have a bonus 40% weapon power. However, there is a small issue here. These two do not stack, and you're losing out on damage if your Golem skin is constantly up. And as you can see in the footage, it is constantly up. As long as you're killing enemies in a sufficient manner, you will have your Golem skin almost always on for an arena at a time. The extra kills, the amount of damage we do just keeps this going, where tremors, you don't really get it. So you have a 40% damage increase at minimum due to that perk that we're forced to grab. And how it works instead of that, where it just knocks the enemies around and does really no damage, it's just not for me. You can use it, feel free to do so, but I'm not a huge fan of it. Instead, I like Endless Mass here. Endless Mass works with our Death Shield and Ultimate Damage Link really, really well. You can group up the enemies, shoot one, and they basically all die. I really enjoy this skill. In fact, I've been trying to make a Martial build work with it, and it's getting there, but we'll talk about that at a later date. Then we have Gravity Leap, and both of these perks proc our capstone in the top tree as well. You guys can see in the footage, my Golem skin is never, ever down. Well, occasionally it does, of course, but for the most part, it doesn't drop off. And using Endless Mass and Gravity Leap to proc the capstone in the top tree, in my opinion, is more sufficient. Then let's talk about the skill tree. This is very, very important. Remember, we are using a Death Shield, but we do have to miss out on a couple of perks here and there. And in exchange, to have a little more survivability and to be able to do a little more damage from further away. We have Havoc, Armor Piercing. We miss out on this Shotgun Adept. We have Brawler here, and we take this bonus shotgun damage here. Just going down the tree, we take all the damage nodes we possibly can, then go into Dry Them Out and Bounty Hunter. This allows us to really burn down captains quickly. Then reload your weapon, more magazine, and then we have Confrontation. Enemies who damage you will have their physical damage reduced by 10%, 20% if you damage them as well, Armor Piercing, and then Altered Charge. This is the main reason we're going this tree. When kinetic skills end, increases your weapon damage by 70% for 10 seconds. Our skills are on about a 14 and 18 second cooldown. You can almost have them up at all times on top of your Golem skin, so you're at 170% bonus weapon damage and firepower. It's really, really strong. It really hits hard. If you have Killing Spree on your weapon, you're hitting at almost 1 million a shot, except you're single target in that way. Then we have heirloom armor. This allows us to just be a little bit tankier when our golem skin does drop out, because it will, no matter how perfectly you play, it will occasionally, you just miss a shot or you don't get that kill. It doesn't extend the duration and you're sitting pretty with no armor. Then we have Colossus, increase your max health by 10%. And then we have Stone Circle, extend the distance considered to be close range by an additional 4 meters. Now, this works two ways. Close range is because we're stacking close range damage, pretty hardcore. And close range because we can kill things from further away and get healed for them. That is the reason we're using Stone Circle. The reason we do not grab champion here is because the skill golem is on almost all the damn time. Do not grab champion here. You will have a 45% damage increase for 10 seconds, and you'll use this skill maybe 5 times during an entire mission. It's better spent elsewhere. You can use it here for sure, but that's just my opinion. And here you go, guys, the template as promised. That is our full Vanquisher top tree Devastator breakdown video. Please, if you guys have any suggestions or think I can change anything, let me know down in the comments below. I'm thinking about doing a budget build version of this, but I'm not sure if it's going to be reliable because you need that statue set no matter what. So in my opinion, going bottom tree is better for getting your expedition tiers up. And then this is something you can try once you have all the gear. If you would like a high-res image of this template, please join the Discord. The link is in the description below. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you want more guides, gear, and gameplay, think about subscribing. I'll see you guys on the next one. Tic Tac out.